Good evening, Greg here. Burn at both ends. Burn it on the back end of the weekend. It's Sunday night, 11:32 p.m. Pacific. July 1st, 2018. So we are kicking off the second half of 2018. So my question is, how'd the first half go for you? So this is the year I've really been elevating my game and really thrilled with what's been going on. And so I have to admit, I've fallen off all the commitments across the board a little bit in the last month or so. I have to say, with these successes, kind of having a little bit too much fun. So recommitting back to the hardcore version of where I started in January, and then where I really upped the game in roughly April. That's when the Burn at Both Ends concept kind of came into my mind, and then May 6th we started the channel. So we're back to the full set of commitments. I'm psyched for it. It's a little uncomfortable, but at the same time, it's what I know needs to happen. So anyway, moving forward, iCore is just fantastic. I'm really loving it. It's really I have to say, just this program is elevating my game. It's just the discipline, the intensity, the chaos, right? It's really like being in a startup. The infinite tasks, the need for organization, the need for bringing clarity so I can know what to do next, critical. And I have to say this, hats off to our industry mentor. He is crushing it. He was at some event last week, and he pulled off like 6 or 7 just one-on-one interviews with some incredible people. I was just putting those interviews up in our Innovation Within, and just crushing it. So now we're at 47 interviews. Thrilled to be there. I was kind of worried this week because we don't have as many scheduled this week, and plus we have the holiday in the middle of the week. But we still have, there's no doubt we're going to get past 50 this week. I think we're going to get even in the mid 50s. There are a bunch of people that are on the hook that aren't scheduled yet, but I'm going to schedule this week. Actually, I just fired off an email just before this post to schedule something, so I'm sure that'll hit. And then I thought of another one. So yeah, we'll definitely be getting past 50 in this next week. And a little hustle on Monday. I think I'll get some good interview karma going, and then we'll throw up. I say throw up, like as in like throw up like on the calendar, but I should stop saying that because it brings throw up in mind, and we don't want to talk about that. Anyway, so hats off to our industry mentor. He's crushing it. The other thing is that we submitted a proposal. This is now the more technical team. A proposal. It's going to go in either this weekend or it went in Friday. It's due tomorrow, essentially. But I think it went in this weekend. And this is going to be a nice pile of money if we win it. This is really going to move the project forward, because what we have now is we have just a proof of concept, which is actually making some of this iCore work challenging, because there's a lot of extrapolating going on with our technical team as far as with regard to what this technology can do. So all we have is a proof of concept, but it's a pretty solid proof of concept, but it's still it's not like a nice thick pile of test data, right? And so a lot of people ask, hey, can I do this? Can I do that? And so there's a lot of extrapolation going on, a lot of thinking, which is good, but we're a bit behind the 8 ball because we only have a proof of concept. But at the same time, we're not really supposed to be talking about the technology. So, but I'll say but right? There are times in these interviews where we hit some technical points, and this becomes really important. And there is some technical performance that this thing needs to obtain, and addressing those is very important. So, and I have to admit, I'm glad that we're not following the iCore to the T, or to the just completely, right? There are times when we send them the papers that are written so they understand the technology. There are times when we get deep into the technology because we want to leverage their expertise. Something that we've been doing, and I've been leading this because I'm the entrepreneurial lead, is I'll even say out loud, hey, we're in a course. We need some information from the private sector. and we have a technology, but I'm going to intentionally keep this in my back pocket so that way we get some unbiased responses from you. I'll even say it like that, just very blatant and just black and white, like. And then, yeah, so let's play a game. Let's play this game and see how it goes. And then at some point in the interview, if it makes sense, I mean, if we kind of stall somewhere, then we'll tell the people about our technology, and then it'll open up a whole nother conversation, which I find to be very valuable. So, I think strictly adhering to this don't talk about the technology I-Core request can be, I don't know, there are times when that should not be true. There are certainly times. I mean, like, for example, we'll talk to some people who, they don't have expertise in what we're doing, and so we want to tell them what we got, so that way they can kind of come around and look at it through our eyes and then leverage their vast knowledge of the industry or of people to talk to, right? I find that to be helpful. So anyway, 47 interviews. We're going to keep on rolling. And what's really exciting is that we're really starting to converge. We are converging on a specific thing to hit, which I'm loving. It just shows progress. I mean, like the worst thing in the world would be to constantly be turning up goose eggs, right? Just everywhere you look, it's like, no, right? That would be bad. And as a matter of fact, we're starting to see more applications that we can hit, which, I-Core wants us to really focus on one value prop for one customer segment, which essentially means one application and one specific application. And so, but we're finding that we can kind of hit a bunch, and that's very exciting because, I-Core is going to come to an end at the end of July. Well, actually, technically July 26th. And the interviews really stop. Let's see, when do the interviews actually really stop? Probably like around July 20th-ish, I'd say, is when the interviews will kind of come to an end, because that last week we fly to Denver and we're back in, kind of in a graduation training kind of thing. And so I don't know how many interviews we'll be doing in that last week. So, but anyway, I'm excited. We're converging. We're really understanding who to talk to next, and we're lining up those people. And so actually, this week's going to be a lot of work for me, and I'll tell you why. Because I want to fill the pipeline this week. Because last week we had a lot of interviews. Last week we had 10 interviews, and that was a thick week. A lot of and on the front end of the week, a lot of those interviews really shed a lot of light, and so that's where we're starting to kind of pivot and understand where we fit. And so now this week, I see really filling the pipeline with folks that represent that fit, and so that way I can kind of get them queued up for next week and the week after, and rock and roll. So just getting exciting, and I have to admit, I mean, I've always known I think I mentioned this before, I've always known the I-Core and the Lean Startup model works. I mean, there's almost no doubt it works, right? It's like calculus. It's well proven. Well, maybe it's not like calculus, but it has stood the test of time, and it works. This is not a debate of whether these customer discovery interviews work or this process works. It does. It's just a matter of whether one can execute it properly, right? Because I can do interviews all day long, and I can just do the wrong interviews and ask the wrong questions, and it's not going to work. So it's just kind of like anything that's proven. It still has to be executed properly. But what I'm really seeing is, like, specifically, like, I'm experiencing it working, which is a whole different thing than reading about it working or hearing from someone else that it works. So just to be in the thick of it and to kind of see it. And we're not quite there yet. I mean, we still have, obviously we have 30 plus interviews to go. We have a lot of information to uncover, right? This is the discomfort that we're in, and we'll do it. And I think what I was getting at before is that while this course comes to an end at the end of July, obviously, if we want to keep moving this forward and build a business, we continue with these interviews. I mean, it like never stops, right? Even once product launch is underway, we're still having interviews. Even when we're selling our 100th widget, we're doing interviews. So never stops. And so the big question is, after this course, do we have any funding? Do we have any funding to keep moving forward? The proposal that we're sending in this weekend, if we get funded, doesn't show up till February, so there will be quite a lapse there, which is not good for a project. I don't know if we can get some bridge funding for that. We'll see. But and then there are other customer discovery like courses that we can take and enroll in. I don't know if they're paid like this DOE Energy I-Core, like we're being paid to do this, right? It's a funded, and there's we have like $75K to do this, so it essentially covers most of my time, most of the PI's time, none of the industry mentor's time. So thank you, industry mentor, for sticking with it. And I have to say, he's doing a tremendous amount of work and hugely valuable, and we're so lucky to have him. So that's awesome. But there are other ones that are not funded, which are kind of a challenge because I don't know how I would get 6 to 8 weeks off work, right, and support my family while this is going on. So I would need some kind of a sponsor for this, which is not out of the question, right? A good deal will find money. I know that. So anyway, I-Core, looking forward to I-Core this week. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to kind of copy over and tweak my success journal. That's really working well. I highly recommend it. I'm going to keep that going. That's one of my added commitments, right? I did an audit this morning, right? What's been working, what's not been working, what should I do better? So I'm going to add success journal. I don't think I'm taking anything away. I realized that. What should I take away? Oh yeah, my addictions. Sorry, forgot about those. So getting rid of those, and then also something that's been working that I realized I didn't mention this morning is my paleo diet. My paleo diet is severely working for me from a health standpoint, but also just from a self-control, self-discipline standpoint. So really appreciating that. So I will wrap there. So this channel is all about my journey as an aspiring entrepreneur, the things that are working, the things that aren't working, the things that I'm throwing away. Right? Addictions, we all have those. And so comment down below, subscribe, ask me questions, ask for help. I'd love to help out. I've got a pretty thick network at this point. Well, I've had one, but I've grown it, since I-Core started tremendously, actually. So I'd love to be of service. That's a big piece that I want to do this year, is be of service. And so yeah, ask me for some help. I'd love to do whatever I could. Other things down in the description, you'll find some motivational links to some websites. You'll find some great music. You'll find the ENST platform, which is a voice-based social media platform, which I'm really digging. And then the beat in the background is an Afro beat inspired by Fela Kuti. G Money is my alter ego. I write these beats. So check them out on SoundCloud. There you can listen to them for free. I find they're really good for when I'm doing work because they're great. Well, I absolutely love them, so that's kind of a different story. But they're just drum beats with very, very, very different styles of drum beats. So they're great for just working if you're just chugging away. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So y'all do well, get some good sleep tonight, so that way you can wake up tomorrow and crush it, do great things, inspire folks, have a great week, kick off the second half of 2018 with a bang, and I will see you in the morning.